All right, traders, BBIG stock has exploded. It's up 27% on the day and up over 10 hours and after hours. My Squeeze Pro indicator just triggered a short squeeze on BBIG. We're going to be discussing that. This is a very important confirmation, and this is setting up for another big run in the overall picture. This stock is not done. It is on track to go much higher, and I'm going to explain to you why. It is currently forming the same pattern that it did on Friday, where it gaps up, it closes strong, then it runs in after hours, and then it gaps up the next day, and it continues to rip. So this video is going to give you a much better understanding on the key critical levels. It's going to walk you through the price action, when to be bullish, when to consider locking in some profits, the risk involved in terms of, say it hits a key critical level, turns into a resistance level, you decide to hold through, not lock in profits. It's going to explain to you the risk involved in doing so. It's going to give you a much better understanding on how high this can realistically go. And it's also going to give you a better understanding on when the bears take control and when the sell-off begins. But as of now, this is looking very, very strong. And it does look like, from an overall point of picture, like there could be some pullbacks along the way. But as of now, this is on track to go much, much higher from an overall picture. And I'm going to walk you through the key price targets and the key levels, when to be bullish, when to be bearish. Make sure you stay till the end. This is going to be a very important video lesson, guys. Let's get right into the analysis for BBIG stock. So in terms of my Squeeze Pro indicator, what I wanted to point out is, in terms of BBIG stock, the squeeze triggers once you have this, teal, this blue bar form on the daily right here. This is when the squeeze triggers, and this just triggered. And let me show you what BBIG has done in the past when it has that first blue bar as it's running up. Let me show you. So right here, this was the day where it formed its first, blue bar, and you could see it was at 597 on this day. That was the high. It closed at 530, and look what happened a couple days later. It had a massive run all the way to 1249. And then in terms of when the bears really took control, it's when this turned dark blue. So that's a key confirmation, right? Let me show you another example right here in terms of BBIG stock. Let me go back a little bit right here. This is what I wanted to point out. This is the first teal, the first blue bar. And you can see once it forms that first blue bar, overall, it continues to go higher, and then the massive sell-off occurs once it turns dark blue. So I wanted to point this out because this is a very, very good sign, because when BBIG is running up like this and the volume is coming in, we saw a very strong increase in the volume. It is known to continue to go higher. So that's one thing that I like about it. We now have a squeeze triggered on the Squeeze Pro indicator, right? Now, with that being said, let's go over the price action. So like I told you guys in yesterday's video, if this gaps up today, we're going to be on track to go to $5, right? So in terms of the $5 reaction, very, very bullish. It is forming the same exact pattern that occurred on Friday. So in terms of the pattern on Friday, Friday it rips up, it closes strong, and then it starts to trend up a little bit in after hours overall. So it's doing the same thing. Now, what I really like about this setup from a price action and technical point of view is you have this huge downside level at $5 a share. Let me show you what's happened previously in terms of when this hit $5 a share. The main difference now is on the strength in the volume in the Squeeze Pro. But you can see there's been multiple occurrences where BBIG hits this 5 level, whether it's $5 or like $5.50, it hits the 5s and then it sells off very, very hard, dropping into the 3s very, very quickly. So what I wanted to point out is, if it can turn 5 into support, which it has proven to do so, we're going to be on track, and the next price target is going to be overall to fill this gap right here at $5.99. Now, another thing that I like about BBIG stock is it has a strong foundation of filling the gaps that are waiting to fill above, especially when the volume comes in. So in terms of gaps that are currently waiting to fill above, we have a gap to fill at $5.99. We have a gap to fill at $7.78, and our last gap to fill, which is going to be kind of the highest this can realistically go in a sense. If you're holding it past here, you're basically just YOLOing it, $9.59. So with the current price action, with the current volume, and with the current squeeze set up, there is a possibility that all those gaps can fill. Because if it's going to fill the gaps over time, like it tends to do, it would do it when there's volume. It would do it when it's taking off like this. It would do it when everyone's hopping in on this play. Like, it's not going to be years from now realistically speaking, it's going to be within the next 1 to 2 weeks, potentially 3 weeks. But we are currently on track for another very, very bullish run. So in terms of the overall setup and what we need to see tomorrow for the strength to continue. So bulls will step in, and this is going to rip tomorrow. I'm talking like 750 plus after hours if this can happen. You need to see this key gap fill level at $6, this key resistance level at $6 a share. You need to see that turn into support. If it can break out and turn 6 into support, we're going to be on track to explode up and fill the next gap that's waiting to fill above at $7.78. That will be the target in terms of when that target will hit. 2 days from when it turns $6 into support, right? So that would be the target for BBIG stock. That's what needs to happen for this to go to 778. It just needs to stay above 6 and continue to hold. In terms of today's price action, phenomenal price action from a bull point of view. Did a very, very good job of maintaining 5s. You could see right here, we had this key resistance level at 5. We had this key gap fill level right here. There was a gap to fill at 507. It managed to turn that into support throughout the day, and now it's running and breaking out through after hours. Same pattern, same situation that we had on Friday. You guys remember on Friday, it filled the gap at 391, and then it managed to break above, turn into support up a little bit in after hours, and then it gapped up and took off. So we are currently on track to have the same pattern as Friday, right? So if we can hold and stay above 6, this is going to be on track to hit $7.78 by Thursday. So that's the target. That's the price target. That's what to look for. Now, in terms of bears and bears taking control, let's take a look. So as you can see, guys, we already have resistance forming at 599. BBIG literally filled the gap during extended hours, and it's already having a pullback, which, it is due for some sort of pullback for the micro price action, simply because it's ran up so much in such a short period of time. One thing I dislike about the situation is it's getting a little bit too crowded, and it was also getting halted during the day. That's what I dislike about the current situation, was the trading halts. But in terms of BBIG and in terms of risk, if $6 reacts as a resistance level, which it currently is, we are going to be on track to potentially have a hard sell-off to fill this gap at $4.07. That's just the reality of the situation. So I want you to think of this as kind of like make it or break it. If we cannot break above 6 and hold that, realistically speaking, within the next 2 days, we could see a $4.07 gap fill, which would be a potential dip buying opportunity for a reversal. Right? So in terms of what can potentially happen if 6 turns into a resistance, we can potentially see something like this, where BBIG had this massive run up. So for example, it had a run up from 2s to the 4s, and then it tops out, has a hard sell-off, drops back to like 280s, and then it explodes up again. That's what we can potentially see happen if the $6 resistance, kicks in, and then it starts to fill the gap at 407. So basically, from a macro point of picture, in terms of the next 2 days and kind of where I stand in this current situation, if $6 reacts as resistance tomorrow, I'm going to be very, very short biased for the next 2 days, and we should be on track to really start to fill this gap below at 407, which would be the best price to dip buy this stock. If we can break above 6 tomorrow and hold that strongly, as long as we're staying above tomorrow, like ideally, you want to stay above this range. Like, it's not just going to break above 6. Like, it's most likely going to have a small little pullback. You really want to stay above this, like, 540. If it can hold 540s, it's going to keep trying to push above 6. As long as it holds 540s, it's going to keep trying to push above 6. If not, and it cracks through that 540, is going to be very, very bearish. Another thing I want you to keep in mind is now that this is gapping up, and this is another key critical level, this closed at 519. So one thing to understand is, in terms of BBIG stock, there is actually now a gap that is waiting to fill below at $5.19 since it gapped up. So that is going to be a key critical level for tomorrow. If you see this stock, it's reacting as resistance. If it pulls back, it needs to turn 519 into a support level. If it fails to turn it into a support and BBIG stock, closes red on the day, it turns 519 on resistance, then it'll be on track to fill the gap below at $4.07. But as long as we can stay above 519, say it pulls back, it drops to 519, it bounces, it starts to spike, then it's still bullish and it's on track for a retest above 6. Once 6 breaks out, turns into support, it's on track for 778 gap fill. If it fakes out at 6, the next level is 519. If 519 holds and it starts bouncing, it's on track for another retest at 6, then you got to see how it reacts. If it cracks 519 and it closes under 519 for tomorrow, it's on track for a gap fill at 407 the next day, which would be the best price to dip buy it. So that's what I want you to understand. 519 is your new key support level. Your new key resistance is 6. It just needs to maintain above 519 for true strength. We need to break above 6 tomorrow, turn that into support. So in terms of max risk and in terms of tomorrow, what you really have to ask yourself is, so say it fails to, break, say it fails to break out fails to break out above 6, right? You need to ask yourself, if this goes to 520 tomorrow and it starts breaking down and it's looking like it's going to close bearish, it's red on the day, are you willing to risk another pullback to 407? Because I just want you guys to understand, in terms of BBIG stock, if it closes under 519 tomorrow, this will be on track to go to 407 the next day. But if it can close above 519, if it can maintain bullish, but it really needs to push above 6, we're on track for 778. So those are the key levels. Just understand it's at a key gap fill level. It needs to turn this into support to fill the next gap at 778. If not, it's going to go back down to fill this new gap at 519. If you see it react as a reversal and it forms support, it's still very, very bullish if it closes above that. If it cracks below that and closes red on the day tomorrow, it's very, very bearish for the micro and it goes back to 407. So those are the risk involved. Those are the key reactions. That's how the price action works for this stock. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. That's what to look for. As of now, so far, so good. So in terms of a bull, the goal for tomorrow is to close above 519. For true strength, you really need to push above this and stay above this 540 resistance level and really need to quickly break above that $6 level. So we'll see how this reacts tomorrow, but that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on BBIG stock. We had a couple of people really killing it within the chat room. I have one guy holding 18,000 shares from an average cost of like 385. He's absolutely crushing it on this particular stock. But yeah, guys, congrats to those of you who ended up, swing trading and playing this play. I'm going to continue to keep you updated. I'm going to continue to guide you within the chat room in terms of, locking in profits and stuff like that. I'm going to continue to help you out within the price action. For those of you writing this one out, you've been messaging me and I've been replying, helping you out in that sense. So I'm going to continue to keep you updated real time within Trader Society. Also, I have a very important video lesson coming out later today, guys. We absolutely crushed it within Trader Society, made over a 50% profit return on the BBIG put options. They were up over 120% at one point. Bought them at market open. I'm going to be posting a video later tonight recapping the trades and giving you a very important updated price action analysis on the stock market crash, along with upcoming trades that I'm planning to crush. It's really going to prepare you for the market. For those of you who watched that video that I posted yesterday, it was actually my worst performing video in terms of views. But the plays in that video, man, the TSM puts, the first call I gave on that video, the second call, the BBBY puts, they absolutely printed this morning and we crushed it live on stream. So congrats to those of you who did very, very well within Trader Society. I'm going to be giving you the updated video. It's going to be posted on the channel at around 10:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you guys tomorrow live at market open within Trader Society. And until then, I'm going to work on the next video.